Heated conversation in studio. Collins says he's not convinced, but Collins and I, our conversation ends here. It's your time. My mic is off. Your voice is on. Time for Social Watch. We went on social media and we wanted to find out what you think about the whole demonetization process. And we want to pick your 2 cents so that when time for Social Watch comes, we can equally bring you into the conversation and engage you. And even as the show was going on, using the hashtag Metropol DEBRIEF, some of you have been sending us feedback, and we want to sample some of that feedback right about now. So the question that we asked, or rather the opinion poll that we did, asked, do you think the monetization process will be able to curb counterfeit notes? Now 40% of you were very optimistic and said yes. However, 60% say no. We'd like to find out why the 40% said yes and why the 60% said no. So Osama Vincent on Instagram says, no, give the new notes time. All the crooks in Roysambu and Kilimani are studying the new notes. In no time, they will flood the market with more fake notes. You're smiling.
I mean, I said it.
You called it.
I said if you wanted to curb counterfeits, I mean, you should have shown that with regards to the material. And I think that's what Osumba is alluding to. I mean, it's so easy for you to counterfeit this new currency. I mean, I'd have expected a different material, and I was saying polymer would have been the best material to use in this case. Yeah.
Let's take a look at another reaction here on Instagram. At Machiavelli says, no, Kenyans need to wake up, Aki. They used 15 billion to print these new notes. This is another looming scandal, is it?
Yeah, to mean the amount of money they used to churn out just 149 million, I mean, it's just alarming. But then they said the purchasing the material was expensive. I'm yet to know.
Well, we'll see about that. Talk to us. How has your experience of using the new note been? Do you think it was worth the 15 billion Kenya shillings? Hashtag at Metropol DEBRIEF. We might just sample it before we finish the show. Let's take a look at another. At Cherotich Xavier says, no, they gave flimsy reasons for the demonetization process, yet after the process was complete, they had no concrete evidence to prove their allegations of under the mattress money. Besides constitutional requirement, what was the main reason for demonetization? Because as you said, the Constitution requires us, but why the rush? The Constitution is here and is here to stay.
True. For them, I think for them was just fighting graft, and I agree with what Xavier is saying. We are yet to see any concrete evidence as to what they have done. I mean, the CBK governor said the accounts that are under scrutiny now, I mean, let's give them time, but I think patience has limits.
Well, we'll give them time, but how many cases have been prosecuted successfully and people gone to jail? At NATO, Lillian says, yes, in the meantime, I am yet to hear anyone complain about fake notes so far. That means at least we have a window to breathe.
I mean, it's just too soon to call that, because I mean, the deadline was just on 30th September. We're now in October.
The crooks are working. They're doing their research. Okay, let's take a look at another, if there's any. We move to WhatsApp now, where Ogendapol says no, a big no. Unless they put in place proper anti-money laundering and counterfeiting laws, a 15 billion was such a waste of time and resources. Proper anti-money laundering and counterfeiting laws.
Not necessarily. I mean, we don't have a shortage of laws in this country. The thing is just lack of goodwill. I mean, we have laws for everything, even for counterfeiting, Anti-Counterfeiting Act, we do. We have all those laws. But the thing is, there's just no goodwill to enforce that. I mean, and I said we don't have respect to the rule of law. Yeah.
Okay, so we're not short of laws. All we have to do is abide by the law and enforce it.
In fact, if anything, we are the country that has the most laws. If you compare our constitution now, rightfully speaking, I mean, we have the voluminous constitution. I think we are the second with regards to the voluminous constitution. Our Bill of Rights is the hugest in the whole world. Yeah.
And yet, human rights is still a conversation that needs to be had in Kenya. And Mudhani Gashoka says no. So does that mean that every time the market will be flooded with counterfeit notes and corruption is rampant, we will demonetize? This government is giving Churchill a run for his money in comedy.
And totally, that was my fear, really. And I'm saying CBK and KRA, CBK need to wake up to realize that it is not their duty to fight graft, in as much as everyone's duty. It's not theirs solely to just think that demonetization is the only way out for us. Other countries have done it successfully, okay, give it to them. But really, we don't have to acquire everything that others have done. We are unique in our own way, so we need to improvise our unique mechanisms to dealing with our unique problems. For instance, the grid that we have.
Okay, let's take a look at another. Elizabeth Vever says, sorry about that. No, have they sealed the loopholes that presented room for counterfeiting in the country before?
Even just beyond the loopholes for counterfeiting, because really the background of coming up with a new currency is not really to curb counterfeiting. I mean, have they remonetized enough? That to me is the concern. Yeah.
Well, okay, let's take a look at another. At Mwamvita and says, yes, from the look of things, the new notes has many features that can help one discern it from a fake one.
I think even the other one did have features that could help you discern, but I give it to her. I mean, it looks pretty.
It looks good.
Yeah, it looks
very
good.
Aesthetically pleasing.
Most of their 1,000 notes.
Okay, so we can hold on to that as a symbol of hope, at least in the time being.
Yeah.
Well, we want to cross over to Twitter in a short while. However, before we do that, we cross over to the streets to try and find out what you had to say about this whole process. We went out to the streets of Nairobi and asked you several questions of what you think of the whole demonetization process, and this is what you had to say. Listen in on Street Talk.
Company walikataa 8,000 kuanzia 25 ndio walikataa hiyo story ya 1,000. Lakini mimi saa hizi mimi kwangu mwenyewe sifai kuwa nimeambiwa niachane na hiyo 1,000. Juu bado ni currency yake ya Kenya.
Mimi hii pesa ni yangu na hii pesa yetu ya Kenya. Na hii sibadilishi. And I know after tarehe moja bado mtajitumia.
Mimi unajua si investor kila siku naenda kwa bank kupeleka mado. So ni ile tu niliambia customer kutoka leo kuendelea wacha tu nilipe na ya kawaida. Juu sitaki mfinyano ya kurudisha yenye sina.
Nilikuwa naona sasa nikifanya nikichukua hiyo noti itakuwa mabishano ya kurudisha. Alafu kuchange bado uta take time kabla uende kwa bank ndio wakuchangie. So nikaona tu niache kuchukua hiyo noti.
Nilikuwa napata challenge mingi, labda nikichukua kienda kuomba labda change, unapata it is very difficult. Mtu akubadilisha na kuambia sasa hatutaki pesa mzee, tunataka pesa mpya.
Kama mimi siwezi kujua kudistinguish venye unahisi hiyo texture yake, but boss wetu alitununulia ile nini so tunamlika, then unajua pesa fake na origin.
Nilikuwa na hiyo shida ya zile fake, but ya saa hii mtu hata ukikunja tu hivi inajikunjua vizuri, then texture yake bado iko poa sana.
Unaweka kwa light and then you can feel it. Yeah. Ukishika una feel and then unaona kuna hiyo nembo imepita hapo, and then the line yenye iko ukifeel texture yake una feel kuna tofauti ya the original one and the fake one.
Fake inakuwa nyepesi, alafu fake ukigwarusa hapa juu haigwaruka, haichimbukagi na kwa maga tu bado.
Ukitaka kama ni 1,000 hiyo jina Kenya, ukiguza hivi unaifeel. Ukitoa hivi rangi kama ni ukitoa hivi hiyo fake inatoka rangi inabaki kwa kidole.
Ya kwanza ukiguza ile jina Kenya unaisikia hata bila kuangalia. Ukiangalia ile watermark inabadilika rangi, unaiona green, ukipendua ni red. Kitu ya tatu hata ukikunja hivi uachilie inainuka peke yake. So pesa si karatasi. Karatasi ukikuja haiwezi inuka. No, pesa ni kitu kingine tofauti, so inajiinua peke yake.
Napata mostly ni 500, 200, 100 ndio ziko mingi. Napata sometimes hiyo 1,000 iko but si sana.
Hizi mpya ndizo saa ziko, hakuna hizi mzee ni moja.
Hii mpya hiyo iko sawa. Mimi naona kwangu iko sawa. Juu bado sana hiyo huwezi pata fake kama kitambo kulikuanga na hiyo shida ya zile fake.
Well, that is what Kenyans have to say in the streets of Nairobi. What are some of your reactions to what Kenyans are saying?
One, I feel like there's a disconnect on how they're distinguishing fake and a new currency. This one was talked about once you touch, I mean, the colors remain. I mean, that is because how it was counterfeited does not mean that is a distinguishing feature. Because CBK has talked about only three distinguishing features of the new currency. So to me, that speaks to the public participation. I think CBK should still sensitize Kenyans and still do carrying out public participation with regards to how to distinguish the new currency from the old currency. Equally, another thing I've picked is that someone was talking about the circulation and talked about 500 other denominations being so much in circulation,
dominant than the 1,000.
Does that speak to people converting old currency 1,000 into other denominations? To me, it does, and that's why I think the CBK has not really nabbed these people who are supposed to return huge sums of money. But then I think it has been well accepted and received. But then there's a lady who has said it's hard for her to decipher old and new currency. I mean, it tells you people are really not involved in the process. So
this calls for more public participation. It shouldn't be a ceremony. It should be an ongoing process.
With the deadline, I mean, the CBK should not just pat their backs and say we've done a good job. 97% is a great one. It's a great turnover, and so they go back where they came from. I mean, I think they should still keep engaging citizens. They should keep engaging Kenyans. And really, we should have a mechanism of how we are reporting fake money. Where are we disposing fake money? I don't see people really disposing fake money anywhere. Because if there's fake money, it will still keep being in circulation. There's no a place where we say, if you have fake money, bring them here. And we have a mechanism of trying to track it, where it came from.
Okay, let's now cross over to Twitter as we almost wind up Social Watch. If you haven't tweeted, keep tweeting. We'll be engaging you here, and even as we finish the show, we'll still be live on Twitter. Now, at Hillary Kim still says it's still a loss to the country. It costs money to print new 100 billion worth of notes. The people, the people who stole and kept elsewhere without exchange to new notes have nothing to lose.
It really, it costs money, I mean, and rightfully so, because it's an investment and you have to pay the contractors who are making the legal tender. But saying the people who lost money have nothing else to lose, I mean, that is true. Because I said the illegal money found way into the market legally, and so they didn't have anything to lose. That's why we are struggling to really point our fingers towards those people who turned back huge sums of money.
Okay. Let's take a look at another. At Peter_Biko says, we were made to believe some people, one in particular, is the one targeted by demonetization, only the fallacy to fail. It was not a fight. It was not to fight corruption, but to meet a constitutional requirement, period.
So it's a success if we met the constitutional requirement, because we are abiding land that has a law, that is a constitution. But saying it was meant to target one individual, I don't think so. I mean, we cannot demonetize our legal tender because of one person. Really, it was few individuals,
but
not just one.
But if you've questioned one person as the lord of corruption and you think they are the ones that hold the keys to the city in terms of lost money?
That's the public that does that. It's not a CBK or the state organs. It's the public that does that. And that's why I was saying we are taking judicial notice of what this was intended to do. And maybe that one particular individual got a loophole on how he could convert the bad money, the illicit money, into legal money. And I think there are a lot of avenues for doing that. I mean, you've seen harambes and contributions where huge sums of monies are being given out every weekend. And you're wondering, is giving 50 million here, they are giving, not he. They are giving 50 million in this one center, and their representatives are equally giving 20 million in another center, and you don't question where are they getting all this money. I mean, if an individual can give more money than a corporate like Safaricom, I mean, CBK can know where this guy is getting the money, and they can go after them. We don't have to demonetize for us to go to get that individual. It's so evident. Yeah.
Okay, let's take a look at another tweet. At Bing Charlie says, correct, the objective of demonetization was to render the millions held there by scandalous individuals invalid. The objective has been effectively achieved if the CBK figures are anything to go by. Quite contradicting.
They're saying if the 90% is anything, 97% is anything to go by, then it has been a success. And I sort of believe, that it has been a success. Though we have not seen those scandalous individuals holding invalid money, as he's saying. We've not, but then we are hoping this. We have a small glimmer of hope that the accounts that are being investigated, we'll see something coming out of that, and not just investigations and empty rhetoric. Okay,
so we want to also bring a video comment into the conversation. We sampled Instagram, Twitter, WhatsApp. So let's hear what one of you had to say. We asked that you send us a video comment on your general thoughts on the demonetization process, and a good gentleman sent us a video, and this is what he had to say. Listening.
Okay, my name is Ambrose. I'm an economic analyst. To me, the biggest disaster is that the new currencies that we have a very short shelf life, if you wish. Because if you look at the money, it has started getting very old, and it is less than 3 months old. We have had money that was printed almost 10 years ago, still in circulation, and it is and it is still being in use. The current currencies that we have might not last a year. And remember, we used 15 billion shillings to print this money. So was it another just money-making scheme by somebody in government? Or what happened? So we actually need some answers to all these questions.
Bros there raising the question of the material that was used and the quality of the money. And today we did a small experiment with my producer. We had a 50 shillings old note that was printed in the year 2010, July 15th at that, and a new generation currency. Maybe if we have that picture, we can just show you on the screen. There it is on your screen. That is the old 50 shillings that was printed in 2010. 15th of June or July, I can't see that far. And then there's the new currency that was released into the market 3 months ago. Look at those two. Just, what do you make out of this?
And I think I want to agree with the sentiments of Omari. I mean, I don't know why, even to me, it's peculiar that it's only 50 shillings that appears old. I don't know, it's the material or what happens, or people really handled the 50 shillings so much. Maybe
however, even the old 50 shillings was one of the currencies that was always in high circulation and high demand.
Then it speaks to the material. But then I think people really demonetized, rather the denomination that was really out there might have been 50 shillings. Mm-hmm. That it was so much out there. And so a lot of handling, and they still question the material, mm-hmm. made it look like that. Mm-hmm. But then it's an unfortunate occurrence that 2 months down the line, that's what we are having. And then another one that has stayed for 9 years are equally in the same bracket. Mm-hmm. It talks to the material that we spent 15 billion on. 15 billion
on. And 15 billion is a lot of money to spend
Totally.
it on material that cannot even last you a year. We want to come to a close of this conversation.
Yeah.
Demonetization has come, it has gone. Now we are left with new currencies and an economy that we don't know where it heads to because there's a cash deficit in the market. We have said that there will be good economic ramifications and maybe bad economic ramifications because some people say now the CBK knows how much money is in circulation and that makes it very easy even maybe for KRA to keep track of the money and tax. As a wind-up, where do we go as a country from here? In order to restore sanity into the economy and the money market, where do we go from here?
One, after bashing CBK, I think it's time to congratulate them because of success that they did in demonetization of currencies. Because looking at case studies of countries like India and how they had a short timeline of demonetization, they went into chaos. I mean, there were riots, there was economic crunch, all that happening. But then for Kenya, under that short period of time, I mean, we've been able to realize success. And I want to give a big thank you and congratulations to CBK for doing that. But then with regards to the intention, we are so far from achieving the intention that they had. But then all is not lost. Talking about the economy, we are in a situation where we are faced with a lot of things. There is that deficit of 60 million that we've talked about from 149 to 200 million. That deficit, we've not really talked about how we are going to curb it. And so it's incumbent upon CBK to see to it that we have real steady progression, like it's a progressive realization towards phasing out the old currencies that are still in the market. And so we should not have a rush to really phase out the other denominations that are still existing. Equally, I think we really need to talk about SMEs and how they're going to do with regards to even the cap rate that have stifled borrowing from the banks. That's another conversation altogether. We have to have even the intention of treasury, because the other day they procured 400 billion, a debt that is coming to us. We've not talked about our debt management. We've not talked about how to cap the deficit of 60 million with regards to the new currencies. We've not talked about how SMEs are going to do. So for our economy, really, we have to have an honest and a holistic conversation with regards to how to revamp. It doesn't stop just at the demonetization.
So Demonetization is not a ceremony, it's a journey, it's a process that the Kenyan government and Kenyans will all have to go through in order to ensure that there's a seamless transition and we restore balance to the Kenyan economy. Thank you very much, Collins, for making time. Thank you for your insights. We want to wind up the show. However, why do we do this show if we can't dose you with the bitter truth that you dear viewer, already know? During the show, Collins mentioned one sad thing, and it might be funny, but it is sad, that there's one gentleman in Siaya who, up to date or up to recently, he wasn't aware that his old generation notes, maybe money that he has earned through the honest sweat of his brow, has been rendered worthless. 10,000, 5,000, 3,000, heck, 1,000, it's your money that you worked for it. You cannot use it anymore. But come to think of it this way, dear Kenyan, you who are watching DEBRIEF, every 5 years, no matter where you are, the remotest part of the country, when the general elections come, the ballot papers must get to you. Why is it that information, critical information that affects your bottom line, cannot get to you? Questions, questions, questions. Ndiro Ganga, peace.